Hi, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Depends on where you are watching me from. If you're tuning in from any part of the world, I wanted to say hi so I will know that you are watching. This is me, Amara, coming your way today, all the way from United Kingdom, and we are bringing to you Break the Bias, still in the mood and the spirit of celebrating women all over the world. We all know that this is the Women's Month, and we are all expected to celebrate them. So before we go on, I just want us to listen to this song, and before I call in the speakers today. All right.
There is no other God beside you now. Sagibuchi. There is no other God beside you now. Sagibuchi. 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 There is no other God beside you now. Sagibuchi. There is no other God beside you now. Sagibuchi. The one who became flesh to save mankind from sin. There is no other God beside him now. Sagibuchi. He died and rose again and gave us victory. There is no other God beside him now. Sagibuchi. Sagibuchi. There is no other God. Beside you. No other God.
There is no other God
beside you. Sagibuchi. There is no other God beside you. No God. Go beside you. You have found hope. There's joy and peace untold. There is no other God beside him. Sagibuchi. You I have rest. My life now is complete. There is no other God beside him. Sagibuchi. You alone. There is no other God. Beside you now. You alone I got Jesus. Say you alone I got you.
There is no God like you, my Father. You're my God.
There is no other
There is no
God.
God like you, my Father. You're my God. Jesus.
The true living God. Jesus. Only reigning King. Jesus. Savior of the world. Jesus. Yeah. Jesus. Sagibuchi, Lord. Beside you now. Sagibuchi. There is no other God beside him now. Sagibuchi.
Hi, welcome back to our channel, everyone. My name is Amara Oba. I am a certified coach, for women. I help women break all barriers and all barriers that are stopping them from achieving their God-given purposes. So welcome to the channel. Today we shall be looking at the biases and all the barriers, limitations that are facing women. You know, over the years, women, they've been going through challenges, having barriers that are stopping them from stepping into their purpose. A lot of them, they've got this mindset that they cannot achieve it, and a lot of them, they know that they can achieve it, but there are things that are stopping them from achieving it. Today we shall be looking at ways to help these women that have been boxed in by the society or by people around or by the companies, organizations that they are working with. We are going to be looking at ways they can actually break those challenges, break those struggles, break those biases, and rise up, soar, and rule their word. You see, I'm looking at this term, glass ceilings. Everyone is talking about glass ceilings, glass ceilings. Yes, you know what glass ceilings are. You know, by a researcher some time ago defined glass ceilings. Her name is Susan. She said it's those invisible and impermeable barriers that limits women from advancing career-wise. You see, these are barriers in their mind, barriers that they cannot see, barriers that they can see, that are stopping women from advancing. I know you know a woman that actually wanted to advance. I know women that want to advance in their career, anything outside their home, they want to advance, but there are things that are stopping them. It could be society, it could be the organization, and there are women that have succeeded from migrating from their own home issues and they've gone to the organizations, but they are not allowed to move forward. It could still be because of men in that organization. So today, I just want to welcome all my speakers from different parts of the world. I've got speakers from UK, I've got speakers from Nigeria, I've got Pastor Ifeoma Eze all the way from Nigeria. She's going to be looking at what women are facing, especially in third world country, that is stopping them from becoming or from soaring. You know, you see, I come from Nigeria, originally from Africa, and there are certain things, certain barriers, certain limitations that are stopping women from accessing to the heights they want to access in life. And today with me is Pastor Ifeoma Eze. She is a pastor, she is a speaker, she's a writer, and she is a song, an artist as well. So I am bringing her on the table today to look into the barriers, look into those barriers that are generally in the third world. She's from Nigeria, so she's gonna be speaking to us from her own experience and from the things that women are going through. So, Pastor Ifeoma Eze, I want to welcome you to the show. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you. Thank you so much for bringing me to this table talk show. I'm so delighted, and I'm really grateful. It's a privilege I don't take for granted. Thank you so much for bringing me here. I do appreciate you, and I really love what God is doing with you, the work in your head, the things you are doing to advance the cause of womanhood, to advance the cause of ministry and society at large. Thank you so much for everything. I'm fine. And you? How are you doing?
I'm amazing. I'm awesome. It's good to see your face again.
Same here. Same here. I'm really glad to be here.
All right, I want you to kickstart the show today to look into the barriers and the biases that are facing women. You know, this year, the theme for the International Women's Day is Break the Bias. You know, it talks about gender equality, diversity, and a lot of things. But I always come from this point of view that if I don't break the ceilings that I have got in my mind, how can I break the ceilings that are out there? So I know about the that women are facing globally, not just from the third world country, even from here where we are. Women are facing loads of challenges. But I wanted to just dive in deeper into the things that women are facing and ways they can actually break those ceilings ceilings and break those glass ceilings, those invisible ceilings that are stopping them from manifesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, over to you.
All right. So, yes, thank you so much for having me on this show once again. I'm really, really glad to be here. You see, Break the Bias is the theme for the International Women's Day all over the world. So we are really glad we have women who are already breaking these glass ceilings and shattering them and becoming better. I'm a pastor, among all the other things I do, and that's why I like to start by giving a scriptural base. Thank you so much, Pastor Mara, for inviting me. I can't thank you enough. And I'm really excited about everyone who is watching. I'm glad you are watching at this time. So thank you for being here. Let's talk about this, breaking the bias. In the book of Numbers, something happened, something that has never happened before, happened in the book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 27. The Bible made us understand that the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilead, the son of Micah, and all of that, this particular man called Zelophehad, he had 5 daughters. And the names of his daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. Now, these daughters did something that other women had not attempted to do ever before. The Bible said that these 5 daughters went and stood before Moses. You know, Moses was the anointed one. Moses was the leader of the people of over 6 million Jews, as a matter of fact. For them to have been able to approach and have access to Moses is another story we will talk about in another program, but not this particular program. Now, Moses, these daughters of Zelophehad went to Moses and they said something to Moses. They said that their father had died in the wilderness and their father was not among those who rebelled against the Lord and against Moses. And they asked a question. They asked a simple question. If you like you to check your Bibles much later, and go to the scripture. This I think verse 4 of Numbers 27. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family? He said, is it because he had no son? Now, it has always been the norm for those who have sons to receive inheritance. But this man did not have a son. And they said, give us a possession amongst the brethren of our father. This was a request that had not been done before. It had not been done by anybody before that time. But these 5 daughters made up their mind that they were more than just women, that they were not to be trampled underfoot, that they were not to just accept the norm and accept the status quo and just take things as normal. Things were not going to be as usual for these 5 daughters. I don't know the kind of investment that Zelophehad made on his daughters, but I commend Zelophehad. And I know that there are modern day Zelophehads watching me right now. There are fathers who are making sure that their daughters are not pushed down. Fathers who are making sure that the self-worth and self-esteem of their daughters are lifted up. Fathers who are making sure that they do not directly or indirectly speak down on their daughters, making them to lose their self-worth, making them to feel little, feel small, be seen and not heard, because I believe that this Zelophehad was an amazing father. It is true we are talking about women today, but let's just take 1 minute to talk about the man who raised his 5 girls, the man who made that investment, and possibly their mother too. But they were given opportunity to be heard. They were given opportunity to speak out. They were given opportunity for their voices to be heard. And because of that, when Zelophehad eventually died, their father eventually died, they were able to get an inheritance for him. See what the Bible says in verse 5 and verse 6. The Bible says, and Moses brought their case before the Lord. And you know what the Lord said to Moses? Amazing. The Lord God went to God spoke to Moses and said, the daughters of Zelophehad speak right. They are right. I don't know who might be listening to me, but there are cases that have lingered in your life simply because you have not stood your ground, simply because you have not pushed for it. If you refuse to ask why, heaven assumes you are comfortable. Let me say this again. If you refuse to ask why, heaven assumes you are comfortable. there is a why question you have to ask today. Why is this so in my family? Why are women not doing this? Why are women in my family not pushing up, not moving, not breaking the glass ceilings? Why? There are questions that women need to start asking. The daughters of Zelophehad stood their ground, and because they did this, they were able to shatter the glass ceiling, something that has never been done in the land of Israel. Started happening, and what was that? Their inheritance was given to them. There are modern day daughters of Zelophehad that we intend to raise through this program. This is not just a table talk, it is bigger, larger than a table talk, because it is changing lives, it is changing destinies. And I really commend Pastor Amara, who is the convener of this program. Because of this opportunity, I believe there is a woman out there, I believe there is a girl out there who will hear one word that will shift her life forward. Bias against women is everywhere. Bias has been as long as humanity has existed. That is why I want you to know, if you are listening to me now, that's why I want you to know that we women can wake up and break the bias. Don't say I'm limited. Don't say, oh, I come from a remote village. Like Pastor Maraki said, I'm from Nigeria, and in Nigeria, many things are happening. It is true that some women are trying to rise and breaking the glass ceiling, but we are far from there. We are far from that place we call El Dorado. Just on the 1st of March, our National Assembly said in both letters, they agree. If our National Assembly is made up of 95.6% males, and they said that they cannot consent, they cannot give the opportunity to women to occupy a very important seat in the National Assembly. They were not going to be given that opportunity. And my question is this: are they not human beings? Are women not humans? Who is supposed to give who? It is not. That's why I have a problem with women going to beg the men to give them their right, because it is their right. We should be able to stand our ground. The daughters of Zelophehad did this in the Bible. Imagine how many centuries ago they had to take that stand. And we have to do better, even in our generation now. If they, without the modern day technology, without civilization, could be able to take their stand, we have to break our glass ceilings. We have to break the bias. We have to break the bias. Let me tell you, there are two major aspects of this bias. Number one, we have the internal bias, and then we have the external bias. The internal bias is the bias within you, because we might be shouting and screaming and talking about all the things that government is doing to us, society is doing to us, our families are doing to us, people are doing to us, but sometimes the bias that exists inside us might be the one that is hindering us from becoming everything that we ought to be. The daughters of Zelophehad, if there was one thing they had, they do not have that internal bias. Within themselves, they knew who they were. Within themselves, they knew they were capable. They knew that even though their father did not have his son, they were not limited. Even though their father did not have his son, they were not stranded. They were human beings and capable of making a request to have their father's inheritance. Our National Assembly here in Nigeria also said that a woman who gets a foreign husband cannot have her husband become a citizen, but a man who gets a wife can have his wife become a citizen instantly. And the question is, why this bias? But like I said, it is okay to be asking about the bias outside. The worst one that can destroy us is the bias inside. We can shout, we can protest, we can say we don't want, we are breaking the bias and all of that, but then let us start from inside, because when the bias is broken on our inside, it will begin to reflect on the outside. If it is broken inside us, if it is broken within us, it will start reflecting outside. The internal bias, that's what we call the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome simply talks about those self-talks, negative self-talks that you give to yourself. Oh, you know that research has shown it, that when job opportunities are being advertised, that males get to apply much more than females, because a male does not need to see all his qualifications paper and apply. But do you know what we do? Females, we, all of us, do you know what we do? We look at it and we're like, am I good enough? Is this qualification? They need something better, somebody better me, somebody more learned than me, somebody more qualified than me, and then we change ourselves, we second guess ourselves, we limit ourselves. Those negative self-talk that tell us, oh, we cannot do it, oh, I cannot, oh, something must, no, people like me don't want that, people like me can't get there, people like me, who are you? We have to break that internal bias first, because that's where it starts from. A wise man once said that if everybody does not believe in you, you can still succeed if only you can believe in yourself. So I don't know which lady is out there watching me this afternoon. It is no coincidence that you are here right now. It is no coincidence that you are watching this program right now. And I thank God every day for the life of Pastor Amara, who convened this program, because I know that she did that in the spirit so that you can be blessed. She did that so that you can be liberated. If everybody does not believe in you, if only you can believe in yourself, if only you can see yourself as the daughter of the King, the one who God created later. You know, God created everything. I said this one was good, the sun was good, the sea was good, the plants were good, the animals were good. He created even man. He said man, but when he saw that man was alone, that man was living below full capacity, he saw that man was not living the fullness of the fullness of expression that he wanted him to live. He said it is not good. It does it not amaze you that everything God created was good? The sun did not need amendment. The plant did not need amendment. The animals did not need amendment. When man was created, God came back to see the man he had created, and he said it is not good. What people don't understand is that a woman is God's attempt at helping humanity. A woman is God's attempt at helping humanity. I've heard people say a woman is an afterthought, and I say you don't know your Bible. You don't read your Bible. Because from the beginning, he made them male and female. The moment he saw Adam alone, what he did was to take that element that was female from the male, extract it, and make it two personalities, because one personality could not just function. I want to challenge your mind. Let nobody look down on you. Let nobody trample your personality and who you are. You are the God. First of all, understand who you are in God. I was having a chat with Pastor Amara sometime, and she said something to me. I see what others don't see, and I just paused to ask her. I don't want to assume at all. I said, please tell me how you see what others don't see. And she said that there's a knowing within her. This is the knowing that every one of us need to have. That knowing that helps us understand our position in God. That makes us to know that we are not an afterthought, that we are not useless in this life. Imposter syndrome will end in your life if and only if you can assume your rightful position in God. In God, there are no males, there are no females. Wow. There are no males. Thank you, Pastor Amara. There are no males, there are no females. All right? No Jews, no Gentiles. We are all one in God.
Pastor Foma, you know one thing about you is that you have this fire that can never be quenched. Each time you're talking, you're just flying. And this is, I just want Ugonwa to contribute a little bit so that, let her just chip in something now, because the thing is going the way we didn't know it's gonna go. So it's like she is a chef, and I understand. Originally, she started something else, and she came into UK and did her masters, and she saw the way the environment is. You're on your going right?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. She came into the system, and she saw that if she's going the way she wanted to go, it's not gonna all go well. Then she broke a certain ceiling, a glass ceiling, that makes her a celebrated chef in our area. In December, she got through a word. So I just want to welcome you to the platform, going to carry on from where she stopped, so that we can let's interact. And later she will come on again. Let's look at this. She makes mention of internal barriers and external barriers. And you cannot win the external barriers if you don't first, one, for yourself, two, you know what you are target and you have a goal, you have a vision. Then 3, you step out. When you step out, but it is that one that is inside of you that can help you step out and win the battle. Because the battle is won first of all in your mind. So Ukonwa, I just want to welcome you to carry on and let's roll.
Welcome, Ukonwa. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Pastor Mara. Thank you, for Pastor Choma. It's good to be in doing great things. Like you said, there are bias everywhere. Right? So, first of all, I like to have a background. What was the 1995 Beijing outcome? What was it for? Today we're saying Breakthebias. 7 days after the Beijing conference, we're still talking about the same thing. Beijing had 12 key points: breaking women out of poverty, violence against women, and etc. etc. The instance of Ukraine and Russia the other day. Women are still being raped by Russian soldiers as spoils of war, as weapons of warfare. So we need to understand that as a woman, first of all, we are beautiful. We are great. The kind of things we do, men don't do it. They don't multitask. As a woman, you look after your home, your husband, your kids, your business, everything. And yet, society does not see you at par with your male contemporaries. And that's not fair. That's not right. Pastor was saying that with the bias we have and self-belief, right? I want to take consideration. If you as a person do not have faith in yourself, you failed already. If you do not have faith in your abilities, you have failed already. Now, if you have faith in your abilities, but you do not apply yourself, you have also failed. I see when I was in banking, I used to see a whole lot of girls and I used to mentor and I say to people, when we go marketing, it is how you put yourself forward that you can sell the products or sell yourself. It depends on what you're marketing. Because I found that some women believe that, oh, they just have to cry for a man, they just have to be like that, and they need to sleep with a man. You can make your own money. On my channel, I tell people every day on Facebook Lives, I tell women, making money is not gender specific.
That's right.
The lives of our Pawifri are there. The lives of our is there. There are so many women, there are so many women doing great things. Why do we not aspire to be like them? Why do we subjugate? Because the subjugation starts from ourselves. You have a daughter, you're telling her you can't do the who says that? Why are we raising our girls better than we're raising our boys?
That's wrong.
We spend time and effort telling the girl to sweep the house, so you can marry a good man. Why are we not investing in the same emotion into our sons? Are they not going to be the ones marrying those girls that we're raising? They are going to be the ones marrying them. So it's best to raise them. I can tell you, my late mother-in-law had 4 boys. All of them can cook and clean better than most women. And that's how she raised them. She had 4 boys, and the last was a girl. Unfortunately, she passed. But the 4 boys cook, clean. In fact, they cook better than most women that I know. So when we say about gender bias, when you were saying the women in the Bible, we have to take it by force. Nobody is going to give it to us. Have you seen? Every country that's gotten independence had to fight for it. You don't get anything on a platter of table. You do have to go out and fight. You have to be vocal. You have to put your, you have to marshal them. You have to say why I deserve it. We are raising our kids here in Europe and in the diaspora. I say to my children, you're black. So before you're going to get what your contemporaries get, you need to put in 300%. Even in the workplace, even in the UK here, we're still talking about disparity in salaries. You still have companies who their salaries have major disparity between what they for doing the same level of work. So I like the fact that we're here discussing this today, but I also want us to go home and start internalizing the things that we are talking about in how we raise our children. The home is the fabric of the society. Women tie that fabric together. Women were what holds the society together. You know, in 2008, when we had the housing crisis, and they said that the Lehman Brothers were a major part of it. And since then, it's been said that if it was the Lehman sisters, it would have been different, because men take all kinds of risks. Women were not risk takers, but we take calculated risk. So in some of these instances, we are not going to get to where the men are if we do not vocalize, and actively agitate for our rights. I saw Nigerian women 1st of March, they were besieging the National Assembly. They wanted, and I'm still hoping they are able to get the names of our legislators and how they voted, so that we can tell them who is the boss at the polling booth come 2023.
Yeah.
Because anybody that is in the parliament, male or female, came from a woman. We all
That's
have
right.
So if you come and create laws that put women under your feet, then you are not right or fit and proper person to be in that legislation. So we need to have those numbers of people. We need to know how our legislators voted. And we as women, we need to mobilize ourselves, go to the market women, go to the streets, and make sure that when they come 2023, we vote them out. There's no political party that has no woman leader. Why do we?
That's right.
We have the numbers. We have the numbers. But women, we shy away from politics because we are scared of being labeled all kinds of names. Because first of all, the society makes it very difficult for us to get into politics. The meetings are held mostly in the night. You can't leave your children, your husband to go to meetings. If you do that, it's either you're struggling with or quarreling with your husband or fighting, or you become labeled as a prostitute, all kinds of names. But these men use that as a means of subjugating us, of keeping us down. If we women take out 10 women in every local government, in every state, and no matter the party they are in, put them in, this man will take us serious. We have the numbers. We have the numbers. We can do this.
That's very true. That's very true. If only we can wake up.
You see, I just love the fact that all of us are putting our voices together. You know, just like what she said. You said that you don't beg for your right, you fight for your right. Some time ago, I went to school for school runs. I picked my son from school, and I said to him that I said, Didi, you have to be strong like an African boy.
Okay, what
The
you
boy
can do?
stopped and looked at me. I said, Mommy, no, I'm a British boy. I'm like, yeah, you are a born British boy, but you are originally from Africa. You know why he said that? Some time ago, when he was in nursery, he came back and said to me, Mom, I don't like my color. Maybe I'm digressing, but it's just like his color. His color is dirty and his color is ugly. Now I begin to speak to his mind. You see, you talked about the way the man raised the Lord for her, the way he raised his daughters. He had just 5 daughters. Now, the way we speak to our children, both male and female, matter a lot. Here's the society.
That's
right. I always say to my son, if the true lemon, I haven't got a daughter at the moment. I'm hoping to have 1 or 2, but if the society throws lemons at you because you are a woman, you need to demand for your right and tell the society, I've got the brains, I've got the eyes, I've got all the intellectual resource that you think the man has got. I've got all of them. So there is no difference between the man and myself when it comes to capability and the ability to see that things are properly. So you demand for it. But everything starts from raising the children, the girl child. But the thing is, we are so much investing so much money, time, energy, in training telling her how to talk, telling her how to accept the norms, telling her she's the only one that is meant to be in the kitchen. I remember my president from my original country, because I'm originally from Nigeria. My original country, my president said that his wife's position is in the kitchen.
Is in the kitchen. Is in the other room.
You see, now he said that in the English-speaking world, until the 18th and the 19th century, women were denied access to higher education. Now, in the 21st century, they are saying in Africa that the permanent position of a woman is in the kitchen and the other room. Now, I'm here to speak to you, woman, hearing the sound of my voice. There is greatness inside of you. There is more inside of you. It doesn't end. It doesn't end in the other room. That is why women are slaying just to satisfy men. You are slaying just to be a hole that somebody will put something in there and just take action and you close up and just go back home and say, okay, all right. So this is us telling you that you have got more inside of you. Whatever you want to be, you can be it. You can break all barriers.
That's right.
Anywhere you want to get to in life, you can. I have been in the midst of people that said that women are not called to be a pastor. Originally, I studied accounting and finance. I've got 5 second degree, the 4th degree. Going for more. But they will tell you that, oh, women are not meant to be pastors. But I don't even listen to them. And I said to someone, I will do exactly what God has called me to do. As long as you're not God, shush there. Just shush. I don't care. So women should rise up and be in and find themselves in the politics. We're talking about Nigeria. You should rise up. Okay, let's look at politics. By the grace of God, I'm a politician here in this country. I vied for the position of an MP in 2019. I have my friend Sarah here. She was one of the people that went with me to the night we were out in the court. You know, I was so surprised and shocked how the male folks, especially in our community, African, they were like, what are you going there to do? As a woman and as a pastor, pastors are not meant to be politicians, and women are not meant to go in there. But I just didn't listen to what they said.
We break the bias.
I broke it. I broke it. I did. I broke it. And the thing is that with what they said, I actually had to pipe load because of my kids to go when you know that you guys know my phone. But now I'm gonna raise up the banner again. Go back in there again, and I'll still become the politician I'm called to be. I'll still be the pastor, still be the politician, I'll still be whatever I have made up my mind to be. Here in United Kingdom, I've got
you know, I told you keep coming. I told you, like me, I mobilized for the Labour Party here. I'm an immigrant, and you have to take interest in what happens around you. I mean, like I said to you, I was super proud when I saw your name on the ballot box, and people were actually voting. Whether you won or not was not the issue. The issue was you had the conviction, you wanted to go out there,
you took the steps,
you wanted to say something, and they gave you an opportunity to come out and be heard. And you didn't have to spend lots of money. You wouldn't probably get that traction in ordinary local government election in Nigeria. You wouldn't even survive that.
I didn't spend any money.
You didn't do nothing. They helped you with your personal.
I didn't even go for campaigning. I didn't. I only paid the post. Is the poster man? I paid them to just share my flyers, and they went to door to houses and they shared it. And people came and supported. I didn't win, but I was surprised to see the number. Sarah went with me. We were surprised to see the number of people that voted, even when I didn't put any effort. But back in Nigeria, you need to like fill out the platform to get in there. So
if you were in Nigeria, your governor, assuming you were looking for local government, you probably would need to sleep with
the White House is a woman, right?
Deputy, sleep with everybody in the legislature and still not get the party ticket. You will not even get the party ticket. At the end of the day, they will say it's a woman. Is it not we? We have all kinds of things. They say all kinds of things. But you see, we I like the way Pastor Ifeoma said, you have to know who you are.
Yes.
First of all, you identify who you are as a person.
Every
Every
other
other person is irrelevant. Every other person is irrelevant. Sarah, say something.
I'm gonna call on Sarah. Sarah, just say something. Sarah is a woman. She's an immigrant as well, but she has broken all barriers. She has her own product. She has her own company. So she's done loads of things in the United Kingdom. Now, Sarah, the floor is for you to say something about breaking the barriers and how you broke the barriers and what's the encouragement for you.
Hello, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this conversation.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you all, ladies. Well, I'm going to be talking from a health perspective, because I have a first degree in law, but that's not what I currently do. So I'm more in health related. I'm more into the health related field at this point in time. So the bias I want to talk about would center more around things that affect women when it comes to health. And the two actually I will talk about three things. One would be the weight loss. The second one would be on the issues surrounding fertility. And the third one would be issues surrounding the mental health of women. So if I start with the issue of weight loss, most of the time when we, societally, when we talk about weight loss and how it affects everyone within the society, the focus and the responsibility, the onus, more often than not, regardless of what race or color or where you come from, we all know that women are always the one who have to carry the cross of the weight loss. So if a man, for instance, was weighing perhaps more kilograms more than a woman, societally it's seen as acceptable because nobody cares to look at a man who has a big belly. And for most of us who come from, the African countries, the West, the third world countries. And when I say that, I'm specifically talking about Africa. And if I use Nigeria, where I come from, as an example, I'm sure many of us on this platform today, we do not see a man as a rich man until he has a pot belly. That's how we know you've arrived. That's how we know you're a rich man. So if I was a slender man who perhaps had billions in my account, nobody will see me status quo wise. Nobody would see me as somebody who is to be reckoned with because I haven't got the pot belly. That shows well. But if a woman, maybe after giving birth to one or two children, has a bit of the love handles on the side, then the bias starts. Then everyone begins to focus on the size of her belly. They don't even think about what her body has gone through to put her into that stage. Into that state where she's having a big belly. Men, they don't have it easy. A man can have a pot belly for whatever reason whatsoever, maybe by taking lots of alcohol. And then, of course, people don't tend to focus on the aspect of, can you, pay attention to your health, be attractive for your woman? I'm going to be a little bit raw here because I believe we're all adults. When we talk about the bias aspect of it, when you get into, the sexual mood, and you have a man who has a pot belly over you as a woman, nobody thinks he's not going to be doing justice, down there as he should, because when we look at how you're meant to be together when you're, having that, what I mean, with a big belly, it's getting in the way. And then they don't think about you not being able to satisfy your wife and then place a bias over that because you're a man. But we can't even talk about it as a woman because you would have to talk about you wanting to lose weight. you would have to focus about how you have to lose weight. You would have to talk about how you have to fit into the society, how to become acceptable because your body has changed. You have added a lot of weight through no choice of yours, but because of the things that your body has gone through. And then you are then being penalized because of the way you look. And the man is not being penalized for the pot belly, which sometimes comes due to a careless lifestyle. But then the bias starts to go on when it comes to the women. That's one aspect. I might probably come back to that. So now moving forward, now let's talk about the big one, the fertility issues. When there are fertility issues, it's always readily seen. Forget about the fact that we're in the Western society. When a woman has a fertility, when there is a fertility issue between couples, the woman is often seen as the one that has a problem. She's always, that's the bias. She's always labeled as the one that has the problem.
You're very
But
correct.
there are many times, actually, a recent research has proven that when it comes to fertility issues, it's a 50-50 equation. It's not like women are more likely to have fertility issues and men are less likely. This has been proven by research. So when we talk about fertility issues, it's a 50-50. Everyone shares an equal disadvantage. So a woman is more likely as a man to have fertility issues. Men do have low sperm count. But when a woman is married and unable to conceive, you know, it's the woman, the bias comes in again on the woman again a second time, that she's the one who perhaps is having the problems and that's why she's unable to conceive. And it's acceptable by the society. Rather than the society creating a much more awareness for everyone to be educated, then it's seen as if it's a woman's problem anyway. And then, you know, I'm just going to share something, a little bit of digression. There was a family that I happen to know, and I was asking somebody who knows that family as well. I said, they've probably been married for maybe about 20 years. And I said, what's going on there? It's probably an underlying problem somewhere. And the person said, oh, it's actually the man that is unable to impregnate his wife because he has low sperm count. And then I said, oh, and they are still together, so happy. And I was told, oh, he treats his wife so well, with respect. Oh, he loves her so much. And I said, she's still in the marriage. I said, oh, wow, that's wonderful. Then I said, out of curiosity, I'm wondering if the woman was the one who had the problem. What would the family of the man do? You know, that's the bias. The woman is straight away labeled as the one who is unable to conceive. But thank God for civilization. Thank God, or even with civilization, you would realize some men are educated are still uncivilized when it comes to awareness. You know, even when the families come in and say, oh, your wife is not conceiving, they just allow the label to be stuck on the woman rather than getting medical help and seeking, you know, solutions to how you can fix it. That is another bias. And then we move on to the mental health issues. Now, you'll be surprised. There was a research in 1986 that actually said when a man and a woman were put side by side in an experiment, women who were experiencing real life mental health situations were labeled as hysterical, you know, because we're often labeled as, you know, women put up with we're drama queens. So straight away, the woman or the women in that category were labeled as hysterical, even though they were really having mental health issues. But they were not taken seriously because societally, once again, the men are more seen as the ones who would be taken seriously when they do have psychiatric or mental health issues rather than the woman. And if a woman complains about something that a man would be taken seriously and treated for, the woman would just be labeled as typical. She's just being a woman. So you see, these are all the unnecessary assumptions that women many times have to put up with. You have to put up with a bias about the weight loss. You have to put up with the bias surrounding fertility issues. You have to put up with bias surrounding your mental health. Even, when oftentimes women take a lot of responsibility that breaks us down many times, but we have to complain in mental health issue and a man has to complain in mental health issue. The research actually proves, so this is not just hearsay, this is not just me saying, it was actually proven by an experimental research that the men are the most likely to be taken seriously. And thank God these days things have evolved, but we're still not there yet. You'll be surprised to know. And then conclusively, there is something else relating to, you can imagine we're all suffering from COVID right now, right? And then you can imagine men are the most likely people to be experimented on, whether a drug or a medication would work or if it would have adverse effects. So if you do not put equal amount of women in the experiment, and you just take maybe perhaps you take more men than women, and then you're experimenting more men for drugs that you want to roll out to take men and women, that's not being fair there. And these are the things that, these are the things that are always ongoing. Because I don't know, there's just something about women that sometimes they don't seem to take us seriously, our respect. We don't get respected as we should. Even when it comes to the medical side of it, the health side of it, the bias still goes on and on. So it's not just when it comes to equality, gender gaps and all that. Even when it comes to matters relating our health, women are often seen as the people that should suffer the consequence of what should be an equal responsibility where everyone picks up whatever applies to them. So, okay, if we talk about fertility, for instance, I forgot to say this. I'm just going to jump in. When we talk about bias, there is a bias that surrounds contraception, right? And we often believe that we as women have to be the one to take contraceptives that oftentimes will harm our body overall.
Harm our bodies.
And you'll be
and
lucky
have
if you
different
take a
reactions.
contraceptive and it does no damage to your body, because contraceptive has been proven to cause breast cancers in some women. It's been proven to cause cervical cancer, though they say cervical cancer is caused by papillo whatever virus, but there are so many things that we probably do not know. And when it comes to the body's physiology, it's just like when many people went out there to take the COVID vaccination. Some people developed clots, some people did not develop clots. It's the same thing for contraception. What your body might be able to tolerate, my body might not be able to tolerate it. Like, I have a friend who has always been on the fertility coil. She's been okay, she's been fine. I had another lady who was on the same fertility coil and she was nearly knocking on heaven's gates. She nearly lost her life. And she didn't know that was what was causing the problem. But you can imagine, if not for the bias, that it's always the woman that has to take the contraceptive. And her husband would have been a little bit helpful there to understand that, okay, this woman is actually doing the best she can to give me a good time in the bedroom. Does it help me to take a condom to use, if that is what I need to do for us to consummate the marriage? But then that's not even a topic to be negotiated, because I've heard people say, my husband will not even come near you if you give him the condom. He will say he's not feeling it, he's not enjoying it. But the thing is, would you rather want to lose your wife because she's using a coil and she's bleeding, or for you to use a condom? Or there are so many things you can work at, if not for the bias. Because the bias, in my opinion, when it comes to women's health, I think the bias encourages women to be at a disadvantage. So I don't know if I'm allowed to round up or yeah.
No, Sarah,
Yeah.
can I?
So I believe that the bias, puts women at a lot of disadvantage when it comes to our health, and we're strong. but at the same time we're fragile, metaphorically. But at the same time, we should be treated with a lot of respect, because what we go through, men could not have gone through it and survived. So, and then yet we are the one who is always, when it comes to the bias, they slap it on the woman. You shouldn't receive the same salary as a man. You're serving the man in the bedroom. You're serving his kids or your kids or our kids or whatever label you choose to title that as. But then the women are always the one being burdened with the norms of the society, with the biases in the society, with everything that shouldn't be thrown at us. So you see, my conclusive contribution to this would be that when it comes to breaking bias, I think we individually, because no one is going to do it for you, you have to take the responsibility yourself. And that is an accountability responsibility. Why should you not be able to tell your husband to use a condom for God's sake?
We'll come back to that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with Sarah. And I like the way Sarah broke it down to the barest minimum, because there's bias in the home. If you don't get pregnant, your mother-in-law automatically assumes it's your fault.
Yeah.
Your husband. I know of a family in London. For years, the woman, her mother-in-law physically assaulted her for not giving birth. And then when they found out that the woman wasn't with the lady, it was actually with her son. The woman casually said, "Okay, let me bring my other son so he can sleep with you and father this one's children." You cannot imagine that. Without that, she didn't even.
That's true. The bias is everywhere.
She didn't even take into consideration how this girl was feeling. Over the years, the abuse she had given to her, she had taken, and then casually was offering her a replacement.
Listen,
to keep it in the family.
See, to the woman, listen to the sound of my voice. Listen, a definition of a strong woman is one who stands up for her rights.
Yeah.
I define a strong woman as one who stands up for her rights. If you know whatever you're going through is detrimental to your health, say no. No matter who is involved. I'm going to give Pastor Robert to speak before we continue. When it comes to the bias in domestic violence. So I'm going to give Pastor Robert go and then now. Yeah.
All right, so I didn't really hear what you said, but I hope everyone can hear me well. If you can hear, just give me a thumbs up. If you can hear me well, just give me a thumbs up. All right, so thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this conversation, because this bias is everywhere. It's at home, it's in the society, it's in the family, it's with friends. It's like Sarah rightly put it, it's with even there are health biases that she mentioned out in good details. So the bias is everywhere. Pastor Mary talked about the bias against women being preachers and ministers. So the bias is basically everywhere. Now, but there are major ways through which we can handle this bias. Like I said earlier, there's the internal bias and there are the external biases. So for the internal bias, you have to take care of yourself. And basically, one thing you have to do is that you have to be self-aware. And like you mentioned today, you also have to know your right. Be self-aware. Know who you are. Know what your limits are. Know what is good for you and what is not good for you. Know what for you. Know what is your right as a citizen, as a person, as an individual, as a woman. Do you know that just yesterday the news was everywhere here in Nigeria about a Nigerian MC who beat his pregnant wife to death, and that was not the first time. He had slapped her, he had beaten her before, and then she survived it, he begged, and then she stayed back. Now she's dead. You see, there are things that if we are not self-aware, we will not be able to help ourselves out of this situation. So we need to be self-aware first and foremost. Secondly, we need to be able to speak up against bias. Somebody was driving me the other day, and along the road, there was a reckless driver. I said, "Oh, it must be a woman driving that car." And I said, "Shut up. the fact that the person is driving recklessly does not make it a woman. There are good female drivers. So you cannot say that because somebody is driving recklessly, it has to be a woman. So we have to speak up against biases wherever we see them. All right. Then another big way through which we can handle and break up some of these biases is that we have to create awareness, like what we are doing now. We have to create awareness. Let people know that when they do this, when they do that, they are they're having bias. They are showing that bias against the female. So when they should stop being so and so that at the end of the day they will be able to stop being having that bias against women. And then most importantly, we are mothers. So we should also raise our children right. Like I think it was Boma that mentioned that we should not raise a boy child separately from the way we raise a girl child. We should give all of them assignments. We should give all of them work to do. We should give them chores to do. We should raise them well. The challenge, a lot of girls that have been raised well are being married out to poorly raised men who are sending them to their early graves. So we focus on the girl child, we try to teach the girl child, we try to make the girl child better, and at the end of the day, this girl child gets married to a man who cannot control his emotions, who cannot control who he is, and at the end of the day, she dies for nothing. So women are not rehabilitation centers for ill-trained men. Let me say that again. Women are not rehabilitation centers for poorly raised young men. So these men should be raised well, and most of them are now in our hands as children. So what do? Let's make sure that we begin to break that bias even within the house. Do you know that some mothers will say, stop crying like that? You're telling your male child, don't cry like a girl, don't talk like a girl, don't walk like a girl. Don't walk like that. It's the right thing. I want you to walk erect. I want you to walk boldly. I want you to walk with your head raised. Don't say, why are you walking, why slopping when you walk? Oh, no, don't walk like a girl. Girls are not supposed to walk like that. And also, so while raising our children, we should try to raise children who have empathy, who will not look at women and then shut their destiny. Do you know how many women who are currently suffering today simply because they got married to somebody who has this bias, like a story builders up in their head. There's a particular lady I'm speaking to right now. This lady, she's in a marriage that has domestic violence, abuse of all sorts. She's having physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, all of them. And I'm like, no, you have to wake up and then get out of that marriage. She said she cannot, that she does not have a father, she does not have a mother, that guy is the only person she has, and that if she leaves him, that she doesn't know how she's going to survive because she does not have a work, she does not have a job, she does not have a skill, something she can do for herself. And this is where we start from. Because you're telling somebody, oh, be empowered, be self-aware, know what you're supposed to do and live. See, even she cannot live because if she leaves, whose body is she going to be? So there are reasons why people even stay in these domestic violent homes because they don't know what else to do. They hear it, they've gone for professors like this and they heard that this is not good for you. But what next do they do? They need to be empowered by themselves. They need to find something to do. Every woman should not sit back and then wait to be taken care of. I know it's a slogan that came out in Nigeria.
Big.
Pastor, if am I saying, it's very, I say it all the time, I'm sure you hear me on my Facebook Live all the time. If you are a woman and you cannot feed yourself, you have failed. You do not need a man.
Say that again so that those have got plugs in their ears can hear it loud and clear.
I've said, and I'm saying, if you are a woman and you cannot feed yourself, you have failed. You do not need a man to feed you.
Again and again.
You do not need a man to provide for you. You can provide for yourself, and whatever the man brings is an extra to you. Now, I say it all the time. I see women on social media, oh, my husband died and everybody ran away. This happened and that happened. The time you spend on social media, going from my picture to other people's picture and say, oh, wow, oh, they're, and wishing for things that you do not have. You can actually spend that time to create the things that you want. It's all about being intentional about what you want and what your purpose is. I say to women, instead of you to buy data and sit on Facebook and be going from one gossip blog or one anywhere they are doing giveaway, you're there. Anyway, even go and get the giveaway that says, come and learn how to make soap, learn how to make akara, learn how to make this. Empower yourself so you do not take nonsense. And to be honest, money answers all. The Bible also said that. You need to understand that if you cannot provide for yourself, you are putting yourself in a position to take any kind of abuse.
Vulnerable.
Physical, mental, verbal, sexual, any type of
Financial.
abuse
Financial.
that is dished out to you. You are not in a position to say no. You're going to be a receiving club. You just keep taking everything until maybe one day you end up in a box. You know, I say this all the time on my own channels, and I say it and I cannot stop saying it. No matter how much you start from your house. I started my business from my house. And it wasn't because I didn't go to school. I have some, like Sarah says, I went to school. All of us have been to schools. Are we doing what we learned in school? No. We have not sat back and said, oh, the society does not want me to practice. The society is... No, none of us is doing that. We are all awake. We are all striving. We are all struggling. We can live by ourselves. If the man is there, is a plus. But I find it very stressful. I find it very annoying when I see women on social media. My husband died. His brothers took everything. If he had a shop in the main market and you were going there with him, assuming you had no job doing, go and sit with him in the main market. When he's writing people owing him, you will know the people who are owing him. When the people who he's owing, you will know them. You will know where his suppliers are coming from. You will know where he's getting the goods from. When he dies inadvertently or he dies before you, then you're in a position to run that business. You're in a position to know what happens in the business. When people say, oh, he wants me, he doesn't want me to work. Really? He does not want you to work. Have you asked him what will become of you when he dies? Assuming he dies and you're still alive. What will become of your children? What example are you letting your children see? I don't get it, because personally, let me give you guys a bit of my own background. I was a bank manager in Nigeria. I moved to the UK to go to school, and I got a job in the bank.
All right,
then when I checked how much my child minding fees, yeah, we can hear you. When I checked my child minding fees and all the horror stories I had, I decided to sit at home and look after my kids, right? Along the line, I thought I was losing who I was. I was losing myself. I was depending on my husband for everything. And to be honest, he was causing a lot of conflict, because if he does this, I'll say it's because I'm not working. He does that, I'll say it's because of this. And then you know what he said one day? He said, go and do anything you want to do so that I can have peace. And to be honest, since I started generating my own money, we have peace, because I am no longer sensitive to the things he says, because I'm not seeing it, oh, it's because I can't contribute or because I'm not contributing. Do you understand? So if you cannot, at least even if it's akara fry now, what are we talking about? You have data to sit on Facebook and gossip.
But many people cannot fry. You see, many people cannot fry akara. I didn't cut it short. I had someone some time ago. I was trying to open up a shop for. I told the person that I'm gonna help you to start selling beans, rice, and all those kind of things, and food stuff. Do you know what she told me? I can't do that.
It's beneath her, right?
Yes, it's beneath me. I can't do that. So this is the problem
we've got. It's not beneath her to beg you for money, right?
It's the problem we've got with women from the third world country now, Africa especially. Because if in my inbox I have 1,001 messages, help me. You don't know me, I don't know you. Help me. My husband did this, my husband did that. And I asked them, have you checked deep down inside of you? What can you do? What skills have you got? I don't have any skills. I don't have this. Don't you know how to make hair? Don't you know how to fry akara? Don't you know how to sell one? Don't you know how to do anything? They say they don't know how to do it. But way back,
they know how to sleep with a man.
Then, yeah, that is small girls with big balls.
That's fine. Now let them go and open up a restaurant, a brothel, and could do that as a business. So long as they're generating money. That's Arab nonsense.
You see?
Like I will say to you, there was this one that tracked me all the way from Facebook to Instagram, all kinds of stories. And I'm like, part of it is even the entitlement on my own money. Do you know what I do for this money? Do you know that there are days I don't sleep because I'm prepping for the food or the event that we're doing the next day? And then you feel very casual, that it's easy for me to come and dash you on money because you tell me one story on Facebook. It doesn't happen that way. You know, like I said to people, there are people, I see some people doing trainings free, how to make soap, how to make this. Go and learn it. No. I want, some people were coming to my restaurant asking me for akara. Then what I did, when I went to my village in Nigeria, every morning the girl selling akara, I'll go up to her shop. When she's mixing it, I'll be asking her questions, and I'll be asking, you know, can I try? Can I do this? And the girl was laughing. In my head, I said, this girl does not know that I'm actually doing an apprenticeship here, because I need that skill to take back with me. And when eventually I was able to do akara and send the girl a picture, she was proud of me. There's nothing beneath you so long as you're earning legitimate income from it. There's absolutely nothing beneath you. I'll give you guys another story. In 1995 in Lagos, my uncle was moving houses, and then he was looking for a plumber. We were in front of a hair salon, and he was saying, he's looking for a plumber. Where will he? The girl doing hair there quickly ran out and said, Oga, my boyfriend is a plumber. Let me go and call him. You know what? She called the guy. He got the job. And I'm like, wow. Would I be proud to say my boyfriend is a plumber? Would I even really want to go and get him a job? And one of the older men there said to me, do you know, she may be asking him for money, and he said there's no work. Today she has generated work for him, so she's able to get that money. So what is beneath you? What exactly is beneath you? Beating or not being beaten?
Let me tell a story, my own story, then we can now continue when it comes to breaking the barriers. We talked about this breaking barriers. You know, one of the problems that is stopping some women from breaking the presumed, sometimes I call it presumed barriers, because sometimes we build the bias, we see the biases ourselves when there is no bias there. Sometimes we build the barriers ourselves when there is no bias, when there is no barrier there. It starts from the mind. I always talk about mindset. I am always talking about mindset, and I always coach people to get up from that mindset that is actually hindering them from getting to their rightful position in life. It is their right, like we rightly said. What is yours? You don't beg for it. You just fight for it. Just stand up and fight for it. So you see, some of the reasons why women are not even seeing them is because their visions are blood. They have blood their visions with so many of their problems. They are busy looking at the situations, busy looking at the problems, busy looking at what people said. You see, when we came into UK newly, all of us, we know that we were told that, oh, the black person is going to get this job. They don't give you this job. They don't give you that job. We don't give you the job. So many of us settled for cleaning. Many of us settled for cleaning, settled for other jobs, care jobs, and all those kind of things. Those are the basic jobs you can actually do before you can actually migrate to a better job. But I've seen people that come into this country and they just migrated to a better job without doing those jobs. But because we've heard the stories from other people that have been here, they always tell you, oh, you can only go for cleaning. You can only go for this. There are certain tribe in this country that always go for cleaning, nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. If you give them a better job, they said, no, this cleaning is what I want. So when I came into this country some decades ago, years ago, and when I came in, I was a banker, and I came into this country. You know, when you in the Nigerian banking system, you know how it is. You have your driver, you have everything to yourself. And coming from Port Harcourt, I'm like, God, my mates were they didn't want to do what I was supposed, what we saw, what was available for us to do as students. And I was like, God, what am I gonna do? And the Holy Spirit ministered to me to start plaiting hair. I began to make hair. I know people that know me here. I used that hair making to make money. I didn't learn how to do it, but that pushed me to traveling to Nigeria some time ago to go and learn how to do the hair. And you see, so I'm going to make hair. I broke that barrier of you cannot make it in this country. I have someone that just came into the country 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and she's already complaining, oh, this country is very tough. And I said to her, you need to change that mindset. You just came in. Ask yourself, what is that inherent talent in me that I can actually use to break some of all these barriers that we are facing in the United Kingdom? No, when I came in, I did the hair. I cooked for people. I did everything I could, everything possible, so I can have money. I sold things. In fact, I brought a company from Nigeria to here, and they are all doing amazing. So I've done a lot of things. I represented companies. I was a secretary to some companies I brought in from Nigeria. I was the secretary to Imo State government in this place as well. I was doing everything possible. But you see what? I'm proud to say that we broke all the barriers in our own little way. We broke the barriers. If other women can do it, you too can do it. Now, search within yourself. What is that gift that I have that I can give to the world? Even at workplace, who said to you you cannot get that promotion? Who said to you it's because you are a woman you cannot get that? You can get it if only you try. You can get it if only you rise up. Okay, so I don't know if there's anyone that has got anything to say. Sarah, have you got something to talk about?
Well, in terms of when we talk about bias,
Oh my God, I was just thinking to myself. I was on mute, sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
So
I
what
can
I
hear
was
you.
basically saying is that when it comes to breaking a bias, that it's an individual journey. Everyone has to take responsibility for themselves to break the bias because nobody is going to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. It's just like if I had to break a bias because I remember, my husband, he has this whole African mentality. And when they stand in that kind of place, they always believe that something, something, something always attributed to women, and women have to be able to do this because you're a woman, so it's your responsibility. It's just like, sometimes we could have arguments about food, insignificant things like that sometimes. And like I was sharing the other day with Mara, I said, when we talk about this bias, I said it's very broad. Bias is very, very, very broad. We can't even finish the topic on bias. And then I said, we're often made, how we were raised. We were raised that a woman's place is in the kitchen. That's when we look at it from the African point of view. You have to make sure when your husband comes back from work, he has to find good food in the room, on the table. You've got to always know your place to make sure that you keep the house clean. You do that. Okay, but maybe that bias can work in another part of the world where you probably have some aides, some families, people to help you. So it becomes naturally acceptable that nobody is really doing anything about it because the bias can work in that society. But in this part of the world where everyone is basically a hustler, you're hustling, the man is hustling, everyone is hustling. And then he comes back home from work and then he's home before you. And then I've had some bizarre stories, and the man is just sitting on the sofa. He's been home since 4-5 p.m. and he's perhaps waiting for the woman who is coming back maybe at 8 p.m. to come and fix his dinner, because the bias is the woman's place is in the kitchen. So practicably there's going to be problems because such biases in this time. We're in the 20th century. Should it still be things that a woman should embrace? Because, when you want to break a bias for yourself, it's a personal journey. You have to be able to take the bull by the horn sometimes to say that, no, I'm challenging this. This is not going to work for me. If you come back, we don't even have to go into a fight or an argument. You've been home since 4 p.m. I've had to travel 4 hours or 3 hours or whatnot to get home. And then you've been home waiting for me at 8 p.m. to come and fix you dinner. Excuse me, can that work? So, we have to challenge certain things. But even when we talk about challenging biases, we don't have to be violent. We don't have to be aggressive. But there are ways around breaking biases. And especially when the bias is centered around the spousal relation, there are ways that we can handle things that does not necessarily cause a war. But then the other thing that I was also going to say is, when it comes to, how we as women, we also sometimes embrace biases because, when we look at situations sometimes, we always, it's a two-way thing. One part is, the imposter syndrome where women already put themselves down. Many women put themselves down before anyone does it. We are always looking at one person and you're sizing yourself up and you're thinking you're less. That is, and a bias can be either conscious or unconsciously, because one part is the society creates the bias. One part is you create the bias yourself, either consciously or unconsciously, and then you make that your story. So when you accept something that is not acceptable, even before the bias was created, you already told yourself that something is not right and you've accepted it as your story. It becomes a difficult thing. So, it's so easy for us to place responsibilities of what should be done or what should not be done on other people, when in actual fact, we have to take responsibilities for ourselves. Not always thinking that, okay, this is what the society has said, this is what they do. How about the bias that you put on yourself? How about the bias that you have created for yourself when every time you tell yourself you're not good? So is anyone going to help anybody to fix that? It's something you have to fix yourself. And like I always say, that you can never give what you don't have. If you do not embrace the bias directly yourself, it becomes easy to stand up to or challenge a bias that isn't right. Because a bias is an assumption. It could either be a societal assumption. It could sometimes even when we put ourselves in a situation where we are biased for ourselves or by ourselves, sometimes it's an assumption. It's not even proven. We just create something in our mind's eye, and then we choose to believe it by telling ourselves we're not good enough. So, these are things that we need to work on. And, when it comes to bias, I think everyone should be held accountable, both personally ourselves, even the societies that we individually find ourselves, everyone, it's an accountability that everyone should be held by when it comes to bias. So I think when we are conscious of these facts, I think everyone can make an informed, decision in terms of improving all these stereotypical biases that are surrounding every one of us that we all have to deal with.
Okay, that's okay. So, what do you have to say? You see, this bias is a big topic. We have bias in the home, bias at work, bias at in leadership, even in the churches, we've got bias. So it's a big topic. So if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna look at them today, we can't be able to touch all of them. Now I want you to give us what are the strategies we can actually use to break these biases. When we are faced with all those biases, what do you think we should do?
Okay. First and foremost, I'll use an example to illustrate what I'm trying to say. When I was in banking, and somebody said to me to showed me a check and said, "This is a check of 70 million naira," and showed me his couch and said, "If I start with him, he'll give me the check." And then I said to him that I could do prostitution, but just not for the bank. So I said it would be better to negotiate with me, pay me 10% of the money to myself when it clears, because it's not about giving me the check, it's about the 10% of that money clearing into my personal account. Then I was prepared to meet him anywhere in the world to sleep with him. Now he said to me, now why your hair strong? Your mates go don't do the thing. I said, really? They don't know what they are selling. They are confused.
I had similar experience when I was working in the bank in Lagos.
Yeah. So I said they don't know what they are selling, because if I'm selling myself, then I negotiate at a different price and I get the money. But if I'm selling a bank product to you and I need to sleep with you for you to use the bank product, then I'm not doing the business. So I was clear. Because what he will simply do was sleep with you, give you the check. As you're leaving the door, the next bank that is coming, he will write the same check for the same money and take it out before you even put it in. So I always say to people, know yourself. What are you selling? In the workplace, there are things that will come. You need to push back. If you don't want insult, you don't give insult. When it starts, you cut it short. You need to know what you're supposed to do. You don't go to the office and be a damsel in distress. That's not what they are paying you for. They are paying you to use your gray matter, to apply yourself, to do the work like your contemporaries. So when you do that, mute your phone. When you do that, then nobody's going to be telling you to use your body to advance your business, to advance your career. But if you don't know what you are actually selling, whether it's the business, whether it's yourself, what your personal brand, you're going to fall by the wayside. So even in the workplace, as a woman, there is bias. And to be honest, you need to do, if your colleagues who are men are doing 100% to get ahead, as a woman, you're going to have to put in 200%. Unfortunately, that's the situation. But there is something about it. We also have women in offices who are like witches to their fellow colleagues who are women. We must leave a path that others must follow. When you're in the workplace, as a career coach, as a business person, you must leave a legacy. You must raise other people coming after you. And you must lay the foundation for that to happen. You can't be in a boardroom, you're going crazy, because your periods are coming. No. We agree that the physiological things that happen to our bodies certain times of the month affect our moods as well. But we must learn to compartmentalize and do the business the way it should be done. And their respect. Break any ceiling. I say to people, the ceilings are breakable. So if you're saying, well, it's actually the way you are seen, the way you come across. If you go to the office and everything, to even read a common Excel, you need somebody to come and read it and open it and open the file. What are they paying you for? When it's time for promotion, obviously you're going to be left behind, because people who are putting in the work, people who are putting in the effort will be recognized. Unfortunately for us women, we have to do 200% of what our colleagues are doing 80% to achieve the same result. Now, when I went back to the Beijing 1995 conference, it has the affirmative actions. 189 countries signed up to that agreement. How many of those countries have, done those things that they agreed to? Who is checking what? We have to find, like Tim O'Neill, the former US congressman, said, politics is local. We have to agitate as women from our local constituencies up to the federal, up to the parliamentary levels of government, or even the presidency, to be heard, to be seen. But we must not go there as beggars. We have to go there as women in our own right, women of substance, women who have done these things, who have broken those ceilings, who are excelling and doing well. We are not asking for handouts. We are saying, put us on the same pedestal with our contemporaries who just happen to be male. Because sometimes you see somebody, I get your mate for house. This is somebody who didn't do standard 6. But he's telling you get your mate for house because you have a PhD, and he has married a PhD holder. So we have to, as a society, learn to promote people for merit, not on gender. Salaries must be done without gender. There should be no gender coloration in these things that we do in the workplace, in the business arena. Because when you sign a contract, you're not signing a contract because I am a woman, therefore I sign. No. You are signing as an entity. That entity has no gender. So when women go to the office and they are not putting in 100% or even 150%, then it's difficult to come to the table to ask, to demand your right. It's very difficult.
Thank you so much for that. There's something I picked from what you said. You talked about women. We always say women encouraging women, but if you look at it very well, most times the downfall of women starts from women.
I agree.
The downfall of women starts from women. You will see a male boss being reasonable, but a female boss is so antagonistic.
Let me say.
But we want to break the bias. That's why I am centered on breaking the bias within us. First.
I'll tell you, I was opportune to work with Tina Vukokwashi. I was opportune to work with Mary Bassi, who is Mary Akbobeme today. Those are great women, right? And I can tell you that if you work with any of those two women, if you were a woman, you knew what you were selling in banking. They were very clear. What you were selling was not your body. You were selling your gray matter, which is your brain. Okay? Now you have mentors who take your interests, who look at you and decide, oh, they can help you out. But you also have to do self-empowerment. You have to grow yourself. You have to invest in yourself, personal development. I always talk about this on my own channels. If you do not value yourself, nobody's going to value you. If you do not put a price tag to it, nobody's going to price it. Do you understand? Now, you are doing coaching. You spent money going to get certified. Now, somebody, run-of-the-mill person who is on the street wants to compete with you as a coach when they know nothing. They have not developed themselves to the point where they can actually offer holistic approaches to situations. All right? Now, we find a lot of people who are master of all, jack of all trades, know nothing. They know absolutely nothing. But they have the gift of the gab. They can talk. They can be presentable. They can slay. When a woman presents, I'm all for looking good, right? But I look good and I make sure that when you interact with me as a person, you don't just see a woman. You don't see a sex symbol. You don't see somebody who you can just sleep with. You see somebody who is bringing something to the table. And when I say to people, I had a customer who was When I was in bank, he was giving me 1 billion, 2 billion. I never knew his house. I never met him in any hotel. We were simply sitting down with him in his office and saying to him, Oga, we can do this. As you're doing this kind of volume, I'm going to be able to remove some COT for you. Do this, do that. And the man said, oh, no bank has offered me that before. No bank has done this for me before. And I started getting the bulk of his business because he could see me adding value to his business. So all we're saying here today, breaking the bias, is not just empowering yourself, but bringing value to the table. Don't go into board meetings, oh, because I'm a woman, they will understand that today my son was sick. No. Go into that meeting like a boss. Do your numbers. Know what you're up against. Do your research. Hit the table running. Hit the ground running. Come across not from a point of vulnerability, but from a point of authority. Be an authority in your field, whatever. Like today, I'm a kitchen boss. I can tell you anything about the food industry in the UK because I sit down after cooking, I go and read the trends in what is happening in my industry. I keep myself updated. You go and look at the government legislation. What are the new things? We have new legislation. How does that affect me and my business? You must keep up with the industry standards and trends. You must know what is happening in your environment. You can never stop learning. It's important to always improve yourself, always develop yourself, and do not become reliable or reliant on other people for your own growth.
I think you everything boils down to mindset, because when you're talking about self-development and growth, is about, we have this growth mindset. People that believe that even though they have got all the skills, they can still top up. They can learn from people. They can have a coach. They can learn from anybody around them. And there are people that don't believe in growth. They believe in fixed, so they don't want to grow. They don't want to listen to anybody. They are just the king of their own in their own word. So this brings me to what Hillary Clinton said: women are the largest untapped reservoir of talent in the world. You see, we're talking about breaking the bias. I ask you, women, what is stopping you from fulfilling your purpose on earth? Do you think your purpose on earth is just to have a husband? Because many people go into marriages with the mindset of, I am going in for poverty elevation. I'm going in for poverty. Somebody's going to elevate me from being poor. And this person is going to help my family members. Oh, he's going to help my brothers and sisters. Once you start dating a man, the next thing you start telling him is that your phone is bad. You have a bill to pay. The next day, everything is like you're giving him bills.
There's some people that when they meet a man, the next day is their birthday too.
Yeah, the birthday too. So that means you have actually told the man that you have got no value for yourself. Hillary said that we are the untapped reservoir of talents. If you want something to be said, Margaret Thatcher said, if you want something to be said, tell a man. But if you want something to be done, tell a woman. The fact that you're a woman is a great honor. The fact that you are a woman is a great honor. There is nothing you cannot do. There is nothing. Michelle Obama said there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. Today, we see women pilots. I saw on Instagram the other day a lady that is a painter, the Boston painter, a woman. She paints houses. We've seen women that work in construction, even in United Kingdom. There is nothing women cannot do, but you need to first of all be aware of yourself. Now, some of the strategies you need to use, you can actually deploy to break those biases that you are facing, because every bias seems similar. They may come from diverse places, but they seem similar. They look alike. But the thing is that for you to be able to stand on top of it, you need to be self-aware. Know yourself. Who are you? What are you made of? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your potential? You can do SWOT analysis. I always tell people to do SWOT analysis of yourself. Personal SWOT analysis. S stands for strength. What are your strengths? Where are you stronger? Are you a strong orator? Are you a strong writer? If you're a strong writer, you can be a content writer for people. You can actually write for people. They'll give you their ideas. You can actually write it down for them. If you're an orator, you can do MC and other things for people. What can you do? If you know how to make up very well, you can be a makeup artist, toucher, touch-up. If you know how to combine clothes, you can be a fashion designer. Who said to you that you would have to become go to fashion school to become a certified fashion designer? You can start it from your home. Ugonwa said she started from her home. When I started doing hair, I started from my home. I used my living room as salon, and I employed 2 or 3 people. I was paying them in UK here. What is it that you can do? I always say, when it comes to the pulpit in church, I tell people that the rod, everybody has got a rod or a staff in their hands. He says, I will bless the works of your hands. What is that staff that you've got? Ugonwa's staff is her cooking utensils. And look at her. She is a professional chef. Nigerian, she can cook Nigerian food. And the beauty thing about this is that she can actually ship them to all over the world. But they start like that. She started small in her kitchen. Now I buy, when I'm doing my birthdays, she cooks my food. If I can't give her rice to cook, she must do the nkwobi for me. She must do the shewu for me. She must do the suya. So all the suya you see me post on my Facebook, this is the chef. Everything you see, all those suya, all those whatever. So if you're in United Kingdom or you're in US, anywhere you are, even in Nigeria, she can ship it to Nigeria for you. Just test our UK nkwobi akwarakasie, you know. That's the language for Akasia. So it's an English language you don't understand. All right. So she's doing it. She's doing absolutely amazing. And the hair that Sarah is wearing today, I made the hair. The hair that Sarah is wearing, this one of our speakers, I made her hair. So I'm still doing it as a pastor. So find what you are good at. Don't be scared because you think you are not good enough. No, you are good enough. Just do it. Be bold. Believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will believe in you. Believe in yourself first. Ugwangwa was not a caterer way back in Nigeria. She was a bank manager. But she came to UK. Look at, she's cooking. The same cooking people look down in Nigeria. She is doing it now with all the swag in it. When governors come from Nigeria or Africa to here, they come and eat from her pots. Do you understand what I mean? So know yourself, be self-aware. If you don't know yourself, you can rediscover yourself. And if you are lost in anywhere, you can contact me. I am a life transformational coach. I will help you by the hand, walk you down the hand. We rediscover who you are, find out your strengths, find out your weaknesses, and know how you can actually use the weaknesses you think are weaknesses. Because some weaknesses are actually advantages. Do you understand what I mean? So you look at the opportunities out there. Now you plunge in your strength into those opportunities. And when you look at the threats in there, you know how to use the strength you have to maneuver the threats that you've got around you. Know yourself, then be aware of your environment. Every environment has got biases. Be aware of your environment. First of all, know yourself, accept who you are. Many of us, we don't accept ourselves. We don't accept who we are. Accept yourself. This is who you are. Sarah said something about the bias in the health sector, especially when women are big. Everybody say men as, oh, this one is too fat. You tell, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, this is that. Oh, this is that. I see it on Facebook where they throw women that are big. That once the man is big, everybody is accept. Oh, he's a man. Oh, the man's beauty is about his money. It's just his pocket. But when it comes to a woman, you guys will tell, oh, she's too fat. She's too this. She's too that. Sweetheart, if you are big and it's not affecting your health, love yourself. Accept yourself. Still slay. Be good. Slay and work gradually to see that you come back to how you used to be if it's not affecting your health. But if it's affecting your health, don't die before your time. If you listen to what people are saying, you are going to die before your time. Accept yourself. Be aware of your environment. Be aware of all the biases around and look at how to maneuver the biases around. Make an informed decision, because when you are aware of your environment, you can make an informed decision to stand on those biases. Ugom, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate on what you've been saying, and it's simple. Um, I always champion women being the best they can be. International Day of the Women reminds us of the girl child who eventually goes into being a woman. Now, we must learn to educate, to empower our children, the girl child. We must also learn to train our sons who are going to marry the daughters that we're raising, to be the fabric of the society, to be the people who hold the family unit together. Now, as a parent, you do not want to have a child who you are going to feed for the rest of your life. You've got to empower them. That's why we send our kids to school. That's why we try to give them the best of the education, the best that they can be. We try to push them to achieve great things. Now, as a woman, I would admonish you to find that which is in you. Find who you are. What are you passionate about? What can you make money from? How can you be your own boss? When I started cooking, I didn't start cooking because I wasn't educated. I didn't start cooking because I didn't go to school. I started cooking because I was passionate about food. I love food. I'm a big foodie. And I was looking for what was going to be compatible with my lifestyle. I wanted to keep an eye on my kids and don't leave them all the time with child manners while I go off to make money. I always say to people, whatever you give is what you get. If you're the type that is always chasing money and not looking into your children, go and save that money for a psychotherapist, save the money for lawyers, save the money for going to court, because they will get into stuff, right? And you're going to need to spend money to get them the best lawyers that you can afford to buy, or the best healthcare, or best whatever. But as a mom of 3 and a wife to a king, I say to you guys, do not be comfortable on somebody else's pocket. If you don't remember anything that we've said here today in breaking this bias, please remember this. Do not be comfortable on someone else's pocket. Let me break it down. You are married does not make you an invalid. It does not make you solely reliant on your partner to provide your wants and needs. I am making a distinction between wants and needs. You have your basic needs. You should be able, as an individual, whether married or single, to provide for yourself your basic needs. Now, you only can afford to do this if you go out there, empower yourself, education, skills, acquisition, whatever it is that you do, and legitimize the process and have peace. Therefore, and another thing we are always fond of doing, oh, I'm selling soap, this person is selling soap. Why am I not making the same money? Not everybody is your customer. Mind your lane. Look into your business. Structure your business. Scale it in a way that you run your own race at your own speed. Our people say, and I'll say it in Igbo, onye buruchi uzo, ihe mee ya. So do not be faster than your shadow. Everything is a process. Empower yourself. Develop yourself. Be the best that you can be in any field of endeavor that you find yourself. And don't stop striving. Don't stop learning. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. Whatever you do, do not have this entitlement mentality that your husband must provide. If he provides, is an added plus. The Bible also says that he who cannot provide for his family is worse than an infidel. It does not say that is the man. It says he who cannot provide.
He,
so if you as a woman
he is a man. No, he is a man.
Okay, good. But if you are using that, if you also go through that route, the Bible never actually addressed women. That means we're not going to make heaven.
No. The thing is, if you look at, like, if you're going to go to spiritually aspect of it, meet yourself, Sarah. Now, if you look at Proverbs 31, okay, if you look at Proverbs 31, you will not see that Proverbs 31 was actually addressing the man, and for the man, I'm gonna come from this aspect now. It's good for women to have skills, Now, when if a woman has got a skill as a single woman and she's thriving, that's absolutely amazing. But I'm of this notion that a woman shouldn't get into marriage for the sake of the man being a tool to reduce poverty in her life and in the system of her family. Now, if you are in marriage and there are men that always want to marry women that are quite young, that they want to like stand on top. Do you understand what I mean? They say that a woman that is those that have gone to school, or some, I'm talking about people from back home. They will say if you've been to school, you've been to university. Oh, you are spoilt, you are wide. So they want those younger ones that they can actually control. That's the word, control. Because somebody came to marry me and they said, I can't control her. And I said to her, if you're looking for something to control, please go and buy pussycat. Then you can control that one, because Nigerian pussycat, you can control them. But in UK, you cannot control your pussycat or your dog. And I said, okay, if you want to control somebody, go to Nigeria and look for cats to control.
No,
now,
but even at that, you can't control your pussy. They do go where they want to go. Let me just say something real quick, yeah? The idea of marrying somebody who is way younger, it's the control thing. You're right.
Yes, it's control.
But
yeah.
I have found out that some of those younger girls, when they deal with these people,
my goodness, them. My goodness, they would have preferred marrying an old cargo like me.
Yes, you actually pity the man, because why they say look at the millennials, they are 30s. Go and look on Instagram. There are so many of them under 30s who are doing great things. Who is going to control them?
I tell you, when the woman has all the money.
We have this notion that when you have money, you can control. A woman that has her own money, you cannot control her. You will deal with her as an equal partner in whatever decision you take.
Yes.
So that's why I do not agree that you should go and get married when you do not have your own means of supporting yourself. I don't agree with that. You're way too young. Until you can afford to feed yourself, pay your bills by yourself,
don't get married. Yes. Yeah, but I'm looking at this way, like what you said is true. For the biases, a way to stop these biases we are talking about in homes, because we didn't go into domestic violence. I think Sarah said something about domestic violence, or you said something about that. But to curtail the domestic violence issue is for women to now, or men, because women still abuse men and men abuse women, is for women, first of all, to know who you are, what's your identity. Now, when you find out your skill and find out what you can do very well, you plunge into that, because when you are busy bringing money, bringing value to the table, when you bring value to the table, there will be respect, there will be mutual respect. So this is us telling women out there, grab value. There is something inside of you. There is more. You are not just meant to have babies. You are not chicken. You are not meant to have babies. You're not just meant to nurture. What after having babies? What next? You now start what's it called? Nursing your husband. Then what is your purpose here on earth? That's what we're talking about. Break that norm, break that societal label, break those mindsets and status quo that says that women are meant to be in the kitchen. Even when you've got your PhD, they will tell you not to work. They will tell you to just sit at home and nurse the children and nurse the husband. There is nothing wrong in you. I am staying at home at the moment to raise my children because they are quite young. And in UK, you don't have herbs just like that. Unlike in Nigeria, you can actually get one Abakaliki girl or from Kaduna, they would not help you, or from a Akwa. But here, it's not like that. So I'm here intentionally looking after my boys until they get to that age of 5. Then I cannot go back to work. So, but I'm not begging. So if you are a woman and you don't have money at the moment, you can actually go to your husband. The man can support his wife, but that is not the right. That is not, you're not entitled to that. But he can support you. Do you understand what I mean?
You're entitled to your husband supporting you. You're entitled to that because Bible said 2 shall become 1. Listen, no, the problem I have with that is that a whole lot of our people don't marry because they are marrying somebody they're interested in. A whole lot of people are marrying to run away from poverty. I'll give you an instance. You see, some of these our brothers here in the diaspora, they save money from working all kinds of jobs. You save your 10,000 pounds, and then you take it to Nigeria. Let's say, for instance, as at today, money is 800 naira to £1, right? You take your 10,000.
It's up to
About
800.
I'll call it 800, I think about 780, right? So you
Okay.
take your 10,000 pounds that you spent 5 years working for, you take it to Nigeria to
On
go on a
borrowed.
2 week holiday or 1 month holiday, change it becomes 8 million naira. You started be a big man straight away, right? Now, you start dating a girl who may also have a boyfriend that she actually feels something for. This girl does not like you, but her parents want her to get married. You too, you want to go and get married. You go and marry this girl. Maybe where she's staying with her parents is a 1 bedroom house with 100 of them inside that room. They will need a savior to save them from poverty. Without your 8 million naira, you're looking like the Messiah already. You take this girl, you bring her back to the diaspora, whichever part of the world you live in, and then she comes. She now realizes that your 10 million is not the way you're eating it every day here. Oh.
You know what? We're going to come back to talk about this thing. No. These are shifted from the. We're going to come back to talk about men that go to Africa and marry girls, especially those nurses, and bring them to this place because their mindset is that sorry to call you short. I have a girl that this young man went to Nigeria to marry. Oh my goodness. This girl had a boyfriend. So when she met this guy, she not ditched the boyfriend, thinking that there is so much money. Now, when this guy brought her to UK, the guy retired by fire by force, because he was in his 50s and this girl is in her 20s. You know, when she came to UK, she was 28, 29. Then I became the savior that she met at that particular moment. Now, this guy brought her to elevate his own poverty. So that way,
he brought his insurance. He brought his pension to the UK.
Thank you. His assurance had been an insurance. So when he went, when the girl came back, he now crossed his leg and said he's not going to walk again. And he broke his leg. Now this guy now started walking and walking and she now realized that she said, Polo didn't tell me this thing. No, Polo did not tell me. So she walked and walked. Immediately she got her papers. She left this guy. They were all fighting. She had 2 children. She now sent the guy out of the house. He said, Pastor, I'm not here with you to talk. How can he bring me here? There is nothing. Look at me. And I said, but what was your intention? You wanted the Messiah, Jesus, to come and bring you from Nigeria. Now he has brought you here. So we will look into those things because I got loads of inboxes telling me, woman of God, do you have any lady that will bring me from Nigeria? Some ladies, man of God, do you have any man that will bring me? Please look for this, especially those in Africa. I'm not talking about those here, those in Africa. So we'll look at those things there. So that somebody will not come and say that they are biasing her because you bought the bias yourself, so you have to enjoy it. So there are different kinds of bias: the ones you bought yourself and the ones that nature gave to society or life gave to you. So Sarah, well, go on.
Well, when it comes to breaking the bias,
I'm muted again. Okay, so when it comes to breaking bias, the focus for today is we're talking about things that concerns us as women and the biases that we often have to deal with, that we're subjected to. What I would like to contribute here is, in terms of breaking bias, as an individual, as a woman especially, or a lady, it's to break a bias, you have to raise your status quo, because you cannot break a bias without raising your status quo. And by raising your status quo, like every other person has said, even Ugonwatu said things about improving and empowering yourself. So to break a bias, you need a voice. Your voice, you have to be able to find your unique voice. You have to be able to raise your standards. You have to be able to fight for your own place, your own portion of a place for yourself, to make yourself a force to be reckoned with. Because if you do not raise your status quo, it's going to be really hard to break a bias. No one is even going to take you seriously. So it's all about status quo raising for you to be able to break a bias appropriately. Otherwise, you're just going to be deceiving yourself at the end of the day. And the only way you can break a bias is that you do not. There are situations that people find themselves in, which sometimes could be beyond your control. accepted. But in every situation that you find yourself, what you should focus on is to find a way to empower yourself, a way to liberate yourself. Because when you feel liberated, or when you are able to raise your standards, it's going to be a lot more easier for you to break a bias. But when you are vulnerable, it's going to be really hard for you to break a bias. And there are so many situations that puts a woman in a vulnerable situation. And the sort of bias that a woman might be able to deal with, or that a woman could be subjected to, could be different from society to society, country to country, because every one of us here today, we are probably watching or listening from different parts of the world. The sort of a bias that a woman would have to strive to fight in the UK sometimes cannot be generic to the sort of bias that you have to fight in another part of the world. So like Amara said too, you've got to be sensitive to your environment. That is very important as well. Sensitivity to your environment, sensitivity to understanding the things that affect you directly as a person, because the bias here is not about external, it's about things that affect you as a person. It's about you, your bias, situations that you're being subjected to, either which has come to you due to a conscious or unconscious bias, or due to a label or whatever, or even what you have put yourself, a bias that you have accepted as your own truth. So it's about an awareness, and I'm sure awareness has also been spoken of. It's about you being conscious. It's about you being very aware of the situation that you're dealing with. Because if you're not aware or conscious about the situation you're dealing with, it becomes difficult to break the bias. You've got to identify the problems first. And then when you identify what the problem is that is causing your own, because everyone has their own unique bias that they have to break. I've got my own unique bias. Everyone has their own unique bias, and our biases might not necessarily be the same, and it can also differ from country to country. So the easiest way to break a bias is first identifying the bias that is unique to you as a person. Your bias might be in your relationship, it might be in your marriage, it might be things that you have to put up with that you're not happy. So a situation that subjects you, that puts you in a state where you are unhappy, where you feel you've lost your voice, where you feel you've lost your sense of self-worth. These are the biases that you probably need to focus and pay attention to. And biases are unique to every one of us, different from person to person. Everyone has their own unique bias that they have to focus on how to break and how to fight. So it's about you breaking away from, the common norm of whatever bias that you are dealing with as a person. And for you to do that, you've got to be empowered. There is no way you can break a bias if you do not raise your standards. You have to raise your standard in certain ways. There are so many things that you have to, the thing is, you have to do a self-evaluation of yourself. And, to break a bias, it's not always all about money. You don't need to be a rich person to break a bias. Like I always said, there was a day somebody said something to me, and I said, do you know you have an asset that can change your life? I said, it's free. It doesn't even cost you money. I said, it's your mouth, your voice. You can break a bias without you having anything, with just your voice. And that is why these days a lot of people are actually fighting for the suppression of their voices, because that is the only way you can stand up for yourself. And when it comes to a spousal relationship and you challenging certain norms, certain biases that you've had to put up with for so many years, and when you're beginning to deal with something that is affecting you as a person, is affecting your sense of worth, is affecting your well-being as a person. And, we also have to bear in mind that happiness is a state of the mind. It's not about physical assets. It's not about wealth. It's not about your education. It's not about what you have or what you own. So let's not get these things twisted. and jumbled together. Because sometimes we think we have to be rich to break a bias. We think we have to be beautiful to break a bias. We think we have to be in a certain way to break a bias. It is not true. A bias of anything that is unique to you can be broken with your voice. And it has to come by what you speak, what you say. And it's also by you being conscious. How do you even know whether you're a subject of bias? Perhaps the question you have to be asking yourself is, how many times have I had to feel that I'm not happy about something? You feel you're not happy about something, you're in a relationship and you feel like you're the one giving so much more. Perhaps there is a bias in the background that you're not even conscious of. That is why we cannot talk about bias without seeing it as a conscious and unconscious bias, because sometimes there are bias in the background which is even unconscious, which is not visible to the physical eye. You're not even sure that you're being you're even dealing with a bias. You don't even know. That's why awareness is very important. So the way you would deal with a bias in your relationship, in your marriage, with your spouse, is different from the way you would deal with a bias that you're subjected to from the society. It's a different way that you would deal with a bias that you're dealing with at work. So it depends on what you have to deal with as a person. It's unique to you. So the first thing you need to do is to identify the bias. Because the question is, are there biases? Yes, there are biases. You can either be conscious of it or unconscious of it, but they are there. And you have to also figure out how to deal with them. But you know, the most important things that people tend to deal with when it comes to biases is always the biases that surround spousal relationships. It's also the biases that surrounds work environment. Those are the very popular ones that we deal with. But we, as an employee, we're also probably a wife or a spouse to somebody. And we're all a community. We all make a community. So we need to identify the bias and then find a way to deal with it. But the easiest way to deal with a bias is it doesn't come. I'm not saying you should not pay attention to looking good. It's important to look good within your confines, what's affordable to you. But you should also raise your standards. You may not have the best clothes. You may not speak the best English. You may not be the most educated. You may not even have all the qualifications, but you're still having to deal with a bias. So are you going to say because you have a shortfall there and you're not up to the standard of other women that you look and you envy or you admire, are you then going to say that is a reason why you have to accept something that is not good for you? So it's about you standing up for yourself, regardless of what or who you are. It's about you being able to open your mouth. Sometimes we always think aggression is always the best way to deal with issues. But you know, you could actually pass a louder message without even saying a word. Like my mom said to me some time ago, she said, there is nobody, no human being, even an animal, a dog knows when the owner is upset with it. What are you talking about? Come on. So how much a human being that has a higher thinking faculty, if you treat even people who have children among us, even children, they understand when you're not happy. So when we have to deal with biases, the most easiest way to break a bias is by what you are able to speak, what you are able to say, and how you present it. Actually creating boundaries, because you cannot break a bias without creating boundaries. There are boundaries that have to be created. For you to break a bias, you've got to learn to create boundaries. You cannot break a bias without even knowing how to create boundaries. So even in relationships, because that's a big one, you see me emphasizing on it so many times, because many women, if you're not married today, you probably be married one day, and you'll be dealing with marital biases as well. Biases surrounding what the society and the men expect a woman to be in a certain way. You've had children, your husband wants you to be slim after 2-3 children. and you begin to have a belly, which I spoke about, and then it becomes a problem for you to think about. But when it then becomes a problem, when it comes to the consummation part of it, then it's no longer a problem, because now you have to be the one to go on contraceptive, while the man cannot compromise a little. So you've got to be able to stand up for yourself. You can see that these things do not require you to be rich. It doesn't even require you to be educated to say, you know what? It's about me here. If you are not happy to use a condom, or even occasionally, maybe we meet in the middle, then you make it my responsibility that I have to be the one swallowing pills just because I need us to enjoy each other, but the responsibility then lies on me. It doesn't have to be that way. So you see, there are, when we talk about biases, everyone should, maybe after this whole forum, you know, after today, everyone should have a moment of self-reflection. Identify what your own bias is. And maybe because after today, if you take nothing away from here, then you know, it's just been a waste of time. But you should be able to walk away from here and ask yourself some very truthful questions. Are there biases I'm conscious of? Are there biases I'm unconscious of? Are there things or situations in my life where I've lost my sense of self-worth? Are there things that I've accepted as my story because it's a norm, it's a bias, but I wasn't even conscious of it and I've accepted it anyway? These are the self-reflections we need to have. And we need to be able to stand up for ourselves. Because if you cannot stand up for yourself, then you're not actually breaking any bias. Because we cannot walk away from here and say, yeah, actually, I've been thinking about, I don't like the fact that I have to take birth control pills all the time. And it's not a conversation you can have with your husband, because you believe, well, I have to be the one taking the pills anyway. How do I tell him? He's going to tell me he doesn't want to use the condom anyway, so it's a problem. You can see, because I'm into health and I deal with a lot of women, you can see every time I move away from it, I come back there. Because we need to be able to compromise. It's not the woman's responsibility to be the one. Men too can do, what's it called? Men to have pills that they can take if they do
You're
not
not talking to Nigerian men, isn't it? Or
I'm
you're
talking to men in general. But a man would never use, that's the big bias. A man would never use a birth or a medication to stop his own sperm from being fertile. But if you ask me, are the drugs there for men to use? Are there things that men could do to make themselves sterile? Yes. But now the question I put to you as a woman is, do you think any woman, any man, sorry, beg your pardon, any man, either white or black, do you think any man would even listen to you if you told him to take the pill? Now the bias is on the woman, because we believe that we have to be the one to take it, and we've accepted it. That's a very big bias. So we need to start challenging some certain things, because if we want to be alive for longer, we have to start challenging certain things. You know, honey, I love you. We love each other, whatever way you choose to call yourselves. But the thing is, if you really love me, you care about my well-being, there should be instances where you should use a condom. So that is one time I'm not even on the pill.
Okay. I think this is okay, but let me just can you mute yourself, sweetheart? You see, while I was learning how to drive, we're going to round up soon, and while I was learning how to drive here, that was in London, I had my driving tutor. This guy told me, he's a British guy, that he had to go on that some medical stuff so that he doesn't impregnate his wife again. He had to do it for the wife instead of the wife taking pills. So, sweetheart, there are some men that can do it if there is an understanding, if the man loves you, especially I don't know about African men. I've not heard any African man do that, to be sterile just because of the wife. But I've seen not just one Englishman. I've seen 2 or 3 of them. They said that to me, that they did that because of their wives. Okay, we're gonna round up.
Can I just correct something quickly?
Okay.
Well, I just needed to clarify something quickly so that I'm not misunderstood. Whilst I'm not saying a man should, it's a personal decision. I'm not saying a man should be sterile. just to clarify. But what I'm saying is there is an easy way out to every problem. Sometimes we often see that there are solutions. It's all boils down to you as a person, as an individual, if you want to take that solution or not. So condom is the cheapest and easiest thing to prevent pregnancy, isn't it? So even listen, a man does not need to be sterile to not make his wife pregnant. A man could also sacrifice moments where, okay, honey, you've been taking pills for the last 1 year of your life, or you've been taking it 6 months of your life. Okay, let me just compromise. Let me meet you in the middle. Have a break. 6 months where you don't even have to take these pills, that you don't have to dose yourself with chemicals. Let's walk around it. Okay, do we want to do it? These things are workable. It's workable. Nothing is impossible unless you tell yourself impossible. So it shouldn't always be the woman who has to always bear the cross of, carry the cross of the bias, because because I know what I'm talking about. I do some health things, so that's why.
I don't know why you're so certain about this.
No, because she sees it every day. She sees it, and I agree with her completely. She sees it every day. A man with a 10 months pregnancy is a rich man. But at 1 kg on your stomach, they're telling you you're fat.
A man who has a pot belly cannot really, let's face it, a man with a pot belly cannot satisfy a woman in bed. Because the belly gets in the way. That's the truth. I'm not even kidding now. That's the truth. But then, woman, you can't even have half of that belly when you don't have a baby in there. Then people start to look at you, even in the society, even your fellow women. And then the man, of course, is running after some women, or is comparing you and saying that, oh, you're getting too fat. Your stomach is getting too big. You know?
Meanwhile, it's almost you to have to
are you saying a woman is actually with a man that has a pot belly who is not even able to do justice to his wife in bed?
This mathematics is so.
No.
That's the truth. We're grown up here.
Yeah, we are those. Sarah, I definitely want you to come and talk to my people, because we need to address it. It's really definitely a bias. We need to talk about this. She is so right. To be honest, it's really, because you will see a man with his 100 months pregnancy sitting there. Then a woman will add 2 kilos. Everybody's judging. Fellow women are passing judgment with their eyes.
Exactly.
Then some will verbalize it. Meanwhile, the man is there with his pregnancy. Nobody saying the word. Sarah, I do actually feel, I can see your passion shining through, and I understand, because you see this on a day-to-day basis.
I dare not go around a man with pot belly. I cannot dare it. What is he going to be doing? For what? Where will he? Is it the belly that will be doing it? Oh, Father, forgive me.
But it's true, because I've had to deal with women who would say, if you tell my husband, please compromise now, use a condom, he would say, well, I'd rather not touch you because I can't use a condom. It's not for me. So it is the contraceptive that is for the woman.
Okay.
I mean, these are biases that need to be, but nobody is going to do it for anybody. You have to be the one to stand up for yourself. It's dead.
Okay. Okay, that's fantabulous. We've done so well. I just want to celebrate you, ladies. I'm super proud of you. I'm gonna be making sure I'm bringing all of us again so we can dive into something, because it is adult. You know, most of the things we don't talk about in churches, and we don't talk, because I was hoping that Pacifica is gonna be around so that I can ask her about this domestic violence in the church. Do you understand me? So we're gonna come back again to talk about this again. But I'm gonna leave you ladies with this. The world needs strong women like you who will lift and build others up. Please, women, let's stop bashing each other. Let's stop talking down on each other. Okay, women who live bravely, both tender and fierce, women of indomitable will. Please, women, we can do it together. Please, if you see your sister doing wrong, you can actually correct them with love. There's a thing I do with this, my ladies here, all of them. Ugoma can correct me with love. I can correct her with love. Sarah corrects me with love. I correct her with love. Pastor Ifama, we are all wonderful women. We are all doing absolutely amazing in our own field. So I just want to say thank you, all of you, for joining us tonight. And Ugoma, have you got anything to say before we round up?
Okay, I would like to say thank you. I am Ugoma Onwuneme. I also have a YouTube page. I'm the chef and owner of Purple Spice Catering, like Amara said. We ship food anywhere in the UK. In fact, in the world, so long as you pay for it. Take care. And as a woman, be the best that you can be. Look after yourself. Your mental health is very important. Your physical health is also very important. So do not look after every other person before yourself. You can only give what you have. Love yourself first, then you can love other people. Take care. God bless.
Yes. I'm gonna bring it, Sarah, because her system has gone down now. You can come. Let her just come and say final word. At least she's in my house now. Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm just about to to run off now, but thank you all for being a part of what Amara is doing. It's a wonderful initiative, a wonderful opportunity for us to all rub minds together. But what I would just want to add conclusively is, as a woman, even when you want to break a bias, I find out that sometimes when aggression does not actually make the other person or make anybody hear what you're saying. There are ways when we're dealing with spouses and we want to break bias, there are better ways of communication. We are very powerful as women, perhaps if we don't know. I think there is a lot of power in words that are never spoken out, and people get the message. So if we want to break a bias, we should actually devise strategies to help us break this bias better, rather than being aggressive, because that's probably not always the ways. You can, like in this part of the world, in the UK, there are so many protests that people go out to do when they want to, pass a message across. And like I said, it's your voice. Your voice is the cheapest and most easy tool, easy asset that you can use in breaking a bias. It's just about you standing up for yourself, not being mean, not being aggressive, and not being hostile, but you standing up for yourself and saying that, see, certain things I do not appreciate this. And especially if you're dealing with, if it's a one-to-one relationship where you want to break a bias, it's just about devising a better way of communication and actually standing up for yourself, because breaking a bias is always about standing up for yourself.
Okay, all right, ladies. I just want to let you know that you are a woman, and that is your superpower. The world needs you as a woman. For the world to get to the position it's supposed to get to be a better world, they need you to put in all your effort, your advices, your contribution. So the world is in need of you. So I want you to understand that you are useful. You are useful. There is more to you. You are not just an ordinary person. You are a superwoman, and you are a superpower, a super resource for the society. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I am Amara. I am a transformational life coach. And if you are stuck anywhere in the world, if you need someone to hold you by the hand, if you don't know what purpose you've got in life and you don't know what to do about life, if you feel down, you can actually inbox me and I can walk you through life journey to find out your hidden strengths and walk you through until you become that better woman that the society can reckon with. Enjoy the rest of your evening. It is me, Amara, from Tea Table Talk Show. Until we see you again, don't forget, everyone celebrates you. We celebrate you. Bye-bye from all of us. Bye. Are you locked out?